Hey everyone, what's going on? So today I'm going to be talking about some of the most broken spell cards in anime history. So as you probably noticed on my Twitter, I was asking what you guys think are the most broken anime cards overall. So make sure to respond to that, or let me know right down in the comments what you think. Also, while you're down there, you can notice in the description there's a link to the Facebook page, the Garo Gaming Discord, and you can also like the video and subscribe. So make sure to do all that, and let's get right into the video. So to start off, the Pillager is literally you get to see your opponent's hand and then take a card out of it and add it to your own hand. Next up is Golden Castle Stromberg. Any video discussing broken anime cards will have this. So during each of your standby phases, your opponent is the one who sends their half of their deck to the grave. I think this was just worded because in the anime, the main villain of the R key changes the card effect to say that it's your opponent. And for some reason, it just works that way. Next up, once per turn during your main phase 1, you can special summon one random level 4 lower monster from your deck in face of attack position. But you cannot normal summon at all as long as this card's on the field. So that's a very small restriction. Next up is all monsters special summon this effect, and all monsters your opponent control must attack. When opponent's monster declares attack, that monster is destroyed, and they take damage equal to half the attack. And then, there it is. Your opponent must pay this card's maintenance cost, so they have to send the half their deck. So that has all these busted effects that stops your opponent from playing the game at all. Next up is Mischief of the Time Goddess. It just skips one turn and goes to your battle phase. So 1, this works with Final Countdown. 2, you get 2 battle phases. You get 2 main phases. It's insane card. Next is Virus Cannon. This doesn't really need any explanation aside from send all spells from your opponent's hand and deck to the graveyard. Alright, next one is Magician's Archive. It's add 1 spell from your deck to your hand. Pretty plain and simple. And follow up with that is Spell Sanctuary. So when it's activated, each player can add a spell from their deck to their hand. And now, while this card is face up on the field, all spells can be activated as quick plays, meaning that you can set the Pillager on your opponent's turn. You can set the Pillager on your turn, and then if your opponent would search a card, you can flip Pillager and steal it from them. You can set Mischief with a Time Goddess and just completely skip your opponent's turn. Virus Cannon, you can just search another spell, I guess. Next up is Multiply. You can target 1 monster you control named Karibo, or 1 monster with 500 or less attack. And this effect isn't the really important one. If it is a Karibo, you can special summon as many Karibo tokens that you want. And now the other one is special summon 2 of that target in the same position. So what comes to mind for me is Cubic Seed Visum, and there's probably a bunch of other targets that I can't really think of, but that's the main thing that just immediately came to my mind when I read that. But there's probably better options that kind of just escape me right now. I can definitely see this card having a ton of application just to special summon out a playset out of your deck. Next is Fallout. So when you special summon a monster, it gains 4,000 attack and defense, but you cannot conduct your battle phase. You cannot conduct draw phase, standby, main phase 1, or main phase 2 for your next 5 turns. Now, the reason I think this card is really busted is, 1, it doesn't go to 4,000, it gains 4,000. And 2, you're not going to be using this card unless you're going for the win. So once you activate this card, you're just like, I'm going for this kill, I'm going to win this game right here. Next, we have Energy Drain. So this is Upstart, but it's a quick play with another effect where it can target an opponent's monster and it will lose all of its attack. So if your opponent goes to attack and you just flip Energy Drain, draw 1, and then that attacking monster's attack will become 0. Next, Dark Spell Regeneration. So when an opponent's monster clears an attack, you can target 1 spell from either player's graveyard and then activate it. So say your opponent just used Raigeki on you, and now they set this huge OTK board and go to attack. You just flip this, and you activate their Raigeki from their graveyard. That's crazy. Next up is Magical Hats. So, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you get to target one face-up spellcaster type monster you control, which is basically the only restriction to this card. But I'm sure like any deck that can play spellcasters and back row can use this card. So dumb. So you get to set spell and traps from your deck, as many as you want, as monsters. And then, if those monsters are attacked, they activate their spell and trap effect. So you set a Raigeki face down, your opponent attacks into it, and they get Raigeki'd. They attack a Mirror Force, they get hit by Mirror Force, they attack Pillager, they attack Mischief, they lose the rest of their turn. That's insane. Next is RankupMagic Astral Force. So, the only restriction on this version of Astral Force is you have to target the XE monster with the highest rank. Now after that, it can go up either 1 or 2 ranks. It doesn't have to be a specific type or attribute, just you can rank it up into 2 rank higher. That's pretty unfair. Basically what you can do with this is you can make a rank 4, then you can go into a rank 5 or 6 with that, go into a 7 or 8. Really unfair card. Next is Roll of Fate. This is another card that just like, it needs to be here. So it's basically 6 cents, except you get both of the effects when you roll the die. And you don't even need to call what you want. You just roll a 6-sided dice, and then no matter what the result is, you get to send that number and then also draw that number. Like, that's not even fair. Next is Nibelung's Treasure and Nibelung's Ring. So first off, you activate one Nibelung's Ring from your deck to your opponent's side of the field and equips a monster. Then you draw 5 cards. And Nibelung's Ring, it's intended to be equipped to opponent's monster. So that monster can't be tributed, can't change its battle position, or activate its effects. And now, during your draw phase, meaning your opponent's draw phase, they can draw 2 cards. And then if a monster is drawn by this card's effect, they have to send one of those cards to the grave. So this is what I think is the most 15 busted anime cards, and it would have been mostly a lot of fusions if I didn't put them down here. So I'm going to get right into the fusion stuff now. First off is Dimension Fusion Destruction. So you can banish the 3 sacred beasts that you control or from your grave, and you get to special summon Armidial, which is a monster with 10,000 attack during your turn. So that's kind of self-explanatory. Next is Fusion Birth. You just send the 5 cards from your deck to your grave, and then if fusion material is sent to the grave, you can fusion summon 1 monster from your extra deck that lists the sent fusion material. So basically what you do is you play only fusion material for busted monsters. Then you can search your fusion rebirth with these cards. Pretty unfair. Next is Fusion Charge. You can fusion summon 1 monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand as fusion material. So after that, you can add back this card during your second standby. It's a polymerization that self-recycles itself. Ghost Fusion is a must. What you do with this card is you can fusion summon a zombie using 1 monster from your deck and 1 from your graveyard to the graveyard. Meaning, if you already have the fusion material in your grave, you send 1 card from your deck and then just target a card in your graveyard as the other fusion material, and nothing really happens to it. Next is Time Fusion. You banish 1 card from your hand, which isn't that big of a loss, to reveal fusion monster in your extra deck. After that, you get to special summon it during your next standby, ignoring its summoning conditions. Only drawback from this is it cannot attack during that turn, which isn't a big deal considering you can special summon any fusion monster that you want. Next is Recycling Plant. It's basically a machine polymerization, but you get to banish from your side of the field or grave. So that's basically a better version of Overload Fusion, because it doesn't need to be a dark. It can just be any machine that you want. Next is Extra Fusion. So fusion summon 1 fusion from your extra deck, using material from your extra deck. So it's basically a 1-card fusion. Next is Harmonic Synchro Fusion. So you get to synchro summon and then fusion summoning using the same material for each summon. So you get 2 monsters for 2 material. Next is Chaos Ancient Gear Fusion. So what this card does is you banish the material for a fusion summon, where you banish a number of monsters from your grave that are special summoned from an extra deck equal to its number of fusion material. And if you do, you special summon its fusion material from your deck, extra deck, or graveyard, ignoring summoning condition. But their effects are negated. Then fusion summon the chosen fusion monster using the summoned monsters as the fusion material. Oh my god, that's a mouthful. So basically, it's a Chaos Giant for free. Let's look up this card right now. Ancient Gear Chaos Giant uses 1, 2, 3, 4 materials. So you just banish 4 extra deck monsters, and you get this big guy for free. And keep in mind those material are already in the grave, so you're not really losing anything. Next is Scrap Fusion. While you control no monsters, you fusion summon 1 monster from your opponent's extra deck to your side of the field by banishing the listed material from your opponent's graveyard. That's ridiculous. And now, finally, is the Future Fusion from the anime. It's the same thing as Future Fusion in real life, except you don't need to wait for its effect. It's an equip spell, and the only downside is the monster special summoned by this effect cannot battle for this turn. Also, it cannot be tributed. If this card is destroyed, destroy that monster. But that's pretty insane. So let me know what you guys think of this list, and tell me if you think that I missed anything, or if there's something that was kind of better that I could have said instead of what I chose. That's all up to you guys. Let me know right down in the comments. And like I said before, while you're down there giving me some comments, let me know what are some of the most broken traps, monsters, extra deck monsters, anything that you guys can think of that you've seen in the anime. Just let me know all that stuff. And again, while you're down in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the Twitter, the Discord, the Facebook, all of that good stuff that you're going to want to keep up with, so you can keep in mind all the updates I'm going to have. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a video for the most OP traps and monsters and extra deck monsters in the next couple days, so make sure to keep an eye out on my channel so you guys can see what I think is the most broken stuff to ever be in the anime. So until next time, guys.